All righty, there he is. I'm sorry, Ian. I apologize. There's a reason why I've been able to talk in radio for 32 years because I can talk a lot of shit. I can just keep going, and I can just keep
I
going.
was,
And I apologize.
man,
I didn't have my life
all
figured
good,
out.
all good, man. I was listening to your crypto rant. I was trying to learn a thing or two, but it's all good. I was educating myself a little bit.
It was it's actually a good thing that real good progress with working with the government and creating this new bill that they've etched together. And it was like the president allowed a whole bunch of crypto people to actually structure the bill, which
Interesting.
like shocker that they would, it's like, Ian, you've been in the reporting business a long time. You probably years ago worked somewhere where the editor had no idea what you were doing, but was trying to tell you what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
That's
sure.
kind
That's
of what
happened
happens a
before.
lot.
Yeah.
So in this case, they didn't do that. They actually allowed people that knew about crypto to structure it. So it's actually a good thing. That's why I was trying to explain to people. But anyway, let's get to it. Watson, dude, we're up to 24 cases now. The 24th case was kind of a curveball. It looks like nobody was ready for this. So while everybody says that they've investigated everything and they've turned over every rock and this and that, well, apparently, and the New York Times has also come out with an article with as many as 66 different massage therapists or whatever you want to call them or whatever it is. Are we getting to a point where the Browns are going to have to look at did we make the wrong decision here and we may have to part ways with him? How is this working out right now? Because that situation gets uglier by the minute.
Yeah, and I think there's several factors here. First of all, this is why the NFL takes its time as far as its investigation. The last time we talked to Commissioner Roger Goodell in Atlanta at the spring league meetings, he talked about how the investigation into Deshaun Watson was wrapping up, not that it had been wrapped up. And in fact, the NFL officials had spoken to him, I think about a week before that for 3 days, but then have remained in contact with Watson. And I would expect as these new issues, 23rd, 24th lawsuit come up, the NFL would go back to Watson and, get his version of it, get his reaction, cross-check everything. There is a reason that this investigation is not done, and why even when it is done, the NFL reserves the right to change things, to go back and further discuss discipline, all of these factors if more information comes out. I have not heard sort of buyer's remorse from the Browns. I think they're in, look, when every team was investigating Deshaun Watson, and we know there were several, there were at least 4, likely more, but he chose basically 4 finalists, Panthers, Falcons, Saints, and of course, the Cleveland Browns. They all knew a suspension, perhaps even a lengthy suspension, was possible. So that part of it is not new. Maybe the length, the depth, the vast nature of this, they didn't quite know, but some version of this teams are pretty well aware of.
Why hasn't the commissioner just put this guy on an exempt list to kind of put everything on ice and not put everybody through all of this stuff? I that's the part I don't understand, because obviously with this 24th one, seems like nobody knew about this one, and all of a sudden now. Right. And by the way, could this lead to another criminal investigation, another criminal case? Because, okay, the other ones were already heard. Can this go to some kind of a grand jury or something like that also? Could she be filing also criminal charges?
I have not heard that part of it as far as criminal charges go. There's been 2 grand jury investigations, 2 grand juries returned no bill. I have not heard of another one, nor have I heard that this sort of surprise, I guess you would call it, 24th one has, would file charges. It is certainly a fascinating situation to look at. As far as why he has not been placed in the commissioner's exempt list, this exists to take a player who is facing criminal charges off the field. Right? Well, Watson has not been on the field. He's been on the practice field, but players who are suspended, right. DeAndre Hopkins, the most recent, players who are suspended are allowed to practice. So regardless of suspension or not, Watson would be allowed to practice. He didn't play at all last year. So there hasn't actually been a reason to take him off the field. Plus, he is not facing criminal charges, which has been generally the barometer for paid leave or the commissioner's exempt list. So, as crazy as it is, essentially status quo for Deshaun Watson until and unless we get disciplinary news, which should probably happen.
Oop, you broke up there. Oop, you broke up there. You froze.
Sorry.
There we go.
Which should, the charges should come at some point before training camp this summer.
And in a way, like you said, they can't really go any farther, the NFL, because then they're going to have problems with the NFLPA, correct? Is that because obviously they would be going over a certain boundary that they can't because there are no criminal charges involved?
Well, and, the NFL they have suspended players who are not facing criminal charges. Ezekiel Elliott was the most notable. Got 6 games, was not prosecuted at all. The NFL basically punished him more than the legal system did. So there is precedent for that. The fascinating thing here is that Roger Goodell is not going to be deciding the initial discipline. It will be a third-party arbitrator appointed by the NFL and the NFLPA. So this person will make a ruling. The NFL and the NFLPA can both appeal. Ultimately, Goodell will have the final choice, but the initial discipline will not be decided by the NFL itself.
I'm with you there. All right. DK Metcalf, I'm kind of surprised Dolphin fans aren't telling me, hey, why don't we trade for DK Metcalf? Because they want to trade for anybody and everybody that's available, even though they have Tyreek and Waddle, and they added Cedric, who seems like a pretty good addition. So all of a sudden now, no, but seriously, DK Metcalf, what's going on in that situation? Because these are unexcused absences here.
For DK Metcalf, not an excused absence. So DK Metcalf is subject to fines. Seahawks have in the past fined players for similar offenses, for skipping mandatory minicamp, for holding out in training camp, these sorts of matters. So we'll see if they do that. I would say it is a little bit of a surprise. We focus so much on the Deebo Samuel situation. DK Metcalf attended OTAs, then at some point he stopped, and it didn't get a lot of coverage. So he's not at mandatory minicamp. He wouldn't be participating anyway. He's rehabbing a foot injury. So, it's as far as football work, it doesn't really affect anything. But it is, I would say, a symbolic statement that he's not happy with the nature and speed of his contract situation. He remains in LA, not signed to a long-term deal. I know he's a huge part of the Seahawks' future, and they have not entertained any trade offers for him yet. But certainly this is a situation that bears watching.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, they, in a way, if you're gonna develop, what are they gonna have to go a young quarterback now, right? That's what Seattle's gonna have to do in the future, correct? They're gonna have to get young and develop quarterback, right? Is that what they're gonna do?
Well, I mean, this year is either going to be Geno Smith or it's going to be Drew Lock. Are either of those guys the long-term answer?
No.
We'll see. Drew Lock, we'll see. But I think a lot of people think no, but we'll see. I have no idea. Drew Lock's been in the league 3 years. I have no idea what he is. So we will find out.
He does have talent. I will say that. When you watch Drew Lock, you can see there's a skill set there, but he just hasn't been able to put it together on a consistent basis. Right. So you're going to go young. This is why I give the Titans a shitload of credit, dude. Because they made the move for Malik, so that Ryan Tannehill's year, this is his last year, and they'll move on and they'll start with Malik. So why pay their top receiver all that money while you're developing a young guy? Go get yourself another young receiver to develop with the young quarterback down the line. That's probably what Seattle should do, because you're eventually going to have to go young, and then that kid's going to have to learn for the next couple of years. Why is DK Metcalf there? You know what I mean? So it almost, I give Tennessee credit because they had the balls to make a really tough decision, but they know, they have the foresight. They go, hey man, we're going in another direction. There's no reason to pay this guy this amount of money for this young quarterback. We'll turn the page. I thought that was really smart.
Well,
Seattle should take a page from Tennessee in that sense.
well, and obviously for Tennessee, it is a gamble because you replace him with Traylon Burks, a similar receiver. That was the comp they had,
Right.
but he's got to be good. He's got to be good. I mean, AJ
Right.
Brown was really good, and he was insanely productive.
Yeah.
So it's a really good move to replace a first round or second, early second round pick with a cheaper option who's just as good. He just has to be good. And I think,
Right. Of course.
they just didn't agree with the value that AJ Brown wanted, which, the Eagles did, and we'll find out if that was right.
All right. So the Broncos get sold. The gentleman that is the heir for Walmart ends up buying it, Rob Walton.
$4.6 billion.
Yeah, just a drop in the well for that man. But they're, as we watch the NBA do a lot of the right things,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the half their league, their coaches are minorities. But part of the reason why is they've also got minorities involved also in ownership, in front office, and all kinds of stuff like that. And the NFL is a league that needs to start showing more diversity. And it's not like you want to force the sale to a minority group, but you want to start to make those kind of inroads there. What Again, the Rob
Right.
Walton thing doesn't make an inroad there. So, that's what I'm asking. What is the league trying to do? Because, we keep talking about an issue that we watch the NBA overcome very easily.
Right.
And they're doing it in a seamless fashion, yet it seems to be like pulling teeth in this league.
Yeah, and I would say, if the NFL had its druthers, the new owner of the Broncos would be someone who is diverse, a minority. That would have been its wish, but the Broncos the sale was beholden to the trustees. Right? It had to be the highest bidder. So Rob Walton knew that. He bid a lot, $4.65 billion, record setting. Now I would expect a high profile minority or diverse officer with the Broncos, either in ownership, with the ownership, advising, perhaps team president. I mean, there's a lot of different ways they can go. I would imagine the next team to sell, the NFL would be pretty heavy-handed in trying to get a minority owner or a diverse owner in the mix.
That is that something to you that you feel like for them it's a priority? It's something that they
Definitely.
need to. Okay.
And it should be. And I think for the league, having a minority owner, an African-American owner, perhaps a priority, and I think it will be prioritized going forward.
Are you hearing anything on the Dolphins side? Any rumblings? Because, with the whole Connor Williams move to center and Connor coming out and declaring that, hey, man, I'm at center. I'm here to play. And
saw that.
And, yeah. So JC Treader dead? Over? No more?
I'm going to play golf right now. I imagine JC Treader is probably doing a lot of that this offseason. Probably a lot of grilling. He's a Cornell guy, so he's probably doing a lot of reading. We'll see if someone pays him enough money to get off the couch and get on the field. But it certainly doesn't seem like it's going to be the Dolphins.
All right, so yeah, that's really all I'm worried about. So it doesn't look like that they look, because I mean, if Connor's there, and I listen, the method behind the madness, I totally understand. If you can get a solid center in front of your quarterback, it's not just a Tua thing. It's any freaking quarterback in the league needs a hell of a center in front of him, bro. Okay, I mean, Dwight Stevenson
100%.
played in front of Marino, so it's one of those deals. It helps to have that. So I get that it's more valuable for them to fill the center spot than it is the guard spot. So I kind of get that, but that's why I wanted to ask, because we had talked so much about JC Treader, and now we see Connor, and it just looks like this is the direction they're going in.
Yeah.
You see Connor making that transition?
Some smart football people think he will. The offensive coordinator is a former O-line coach, so I imagine the guidance and tutelage will be really good. He's always been a talented player. You have to be smart, really smart to play that position. It's a good move, and we'll see if it works out. But I think it's, a promising move, I would say.
How's the golf game right now? What are you working on?
I'll let you know after today. Driving the ball okay, still can't putt. But handicap is hovering around 12. So we'll see if I can get that just a little bit lower. But
beers,
so far so
beers during 18 holes. What's the over and under there?
I don't like to drink much when I play golf because I don't like to be bad. Maybe one, but okay. I don't. I like to be good. I don't like to be bad. Golf beers generally in golf make you bad, unless you're Patrick Mahomes.
Any of my sponsors? Any Perdomo cigars there? Yeah.
Probably not. Now, look, if they want to send me, I'll probably smoke them. But I don't have any.
I'll send you some Perdomos, bro. Well, I'll talk to Nick. We'll send you some Perdomos.
Oh, sure. Send them my way. I'll smoke them.
Okay. Well, what are you? A light, medium, full body guy? What is it?
Medium. I'm more of a medium kind of guy.
Okay. All right. So when you light it up, you tweet it out to us. All right.
There you go. Sure. I got you.
All right. So we got you a medium. I'm going to talk to Nick. We'll get you a box of some medium. No, I'm not joking around. I'll get you some cigars, dude.
Right? I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'll take them.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Rap Sheet. Catch him there at the NFL Network. And, of course, you can catch him every Wednesday doing his thing here if I'm not late talking too much shit. Here on the Slomins Look Around the NFL. Ian, I love you, my brother. Appreciate you. We'll catch you next week.
Look forward to it. Take care, man.
You got it. There you go. The great Ian Rapoport. Good dude, man. Good dude.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.